Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? I got a show. It's called Wine Unknown. You're checking it out. I get to talk to you guys about wines. I get to talk to you about grape varietals. I get to talk to you about wine making regions. I'm just saying, I'm happy. I'm grateful that I get to do something like this. Hopefully, you're having a good time following along on a journey with us. Hopefully, the community is building and you're a part of it, because why not? Why not? How about that? Why not? I think I should do something with that. We'll see. But anyway, if you're studying for a wine certification or if you just want to know about wine for yourself, this is the show for you because we have fun. I just throw out some facts there, here and there, give you a little bit of history, background, and I also tell you some of the cool things that I've done with wine and food pairings. So hopefully you have a glass of wine in front of you. If not, you have some coffee on your commute to work or wherever it is that you're going, but just vibe out and let's learn a little bit, all right? So let's get into Oregon right now, all right? Cheers. It's funny because like Oregon is still such a young winemaking area in the United States of America. Like it had to start around 1965, somewhere around there. In the 1960s is when some people started to really take their talents from Cali to Oregon. Just like we might as well just do something right here because it fits the mold. It's like really perfect. And it's so close, like as far as climate and just topography, it kind of resembles France. It kind of resembles like Burgundy, like to be precise. And it's just a no-brainer on the grapes that they predominantly grow here, which are Pinot Noir and Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris is not so big in Burgundy, but it's closer towards the German style of winemaking, which makes sense, which makes sense. But I digress. I digress. When you're thinking of Oregon, you're going to think of Pinot Noir predominantly, and it's going to fill all of the shelves within the retail space at whatever shop you go to when it comes to Pinot Noir. Definitely from domestic Pinot Noir, I should say. And that's because it's so great. It's so rich. It's you kind of don't know what you're going to get because you can get that earthy style of Pinot Noir that's similar towards like Burgundy style, or you can get this really lush juice bomb of fruit forward Pinot Noir that seems a lot more intact with Willamette Valley. Now I'm moving way too fast. All right, let me back it up, right? So there are other great varietals that's grown in Oregon. So outside of Pinot Noir, there's Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot, right? For the red grapes. Now, for the white grapes, there's Pinot Gris, or also known as Pinot Grigio. There's Chardonnay, and there's Riesling that can also be made, and usually is made within Oregon. Those are all popular grape varietals, and which makes sense because if we're trying to sell product, we want to create with the what's already in market, right? So we don't have time to kind of figure out what works best with this land. We're trying to turn a profit. I get that. But it became weird, or there's this synergy that actually just worked because Pinot Noir works perfect here in Oregon or there in Oregon. It worked perfect because it kind of created its own lane and its own style of Pinot Noir. The process is still the same where it's really hard to like harvest because it's still this thin-skinned grape varietal, and it's just so how do you say, luxurious, that the price point is still the same. Like it's going to show you that it's a Pinot Noir, just if you look at the price tag on these things. But the quality is really fantastic as well. And it's on the whole different opposite spectrum of the old world Pinot Noir that you know of from Burgundy. Like these wines that's coming out of Oregon, that's a Pinot Noir, you can expect them to be juicier, more fruit forward. Not to say that they can't do anything else, but that style is going to be more correct or what you would get from the Pinot Noir, grape varietal there in this area. Uh, Oregon has AVAs as well. They have their own pockets of stylistically things that make it stand out a little bit differently than anywhere else that's protected by the government. But yeah, I'm just rambling on. We'll get to that later in our wine journey. But for now, let's think. Oregon, you're going to think of Pinot Noir and or Pinot Gris. Now, Pinot Gris from Oregon is amazing as well. A lot of the ones that I've tasted, geez, they were just like structurally amazing. They were really floral, and then they had a lot of refreshing fruit flavors. They were really crisp. It was it was they I can't say it, they were all really good, and they all seem to have this little weight to them. So they weren't as light as a Pinot Grigio. They had some, you felt it. They had a little body to it. It's like, ooh, okay, I can lift you up a little bit more. Sorry. Forgive me. But yeah, that plays a hand in the type of climate, temperature that happens in Oregon. So Oregon is in general just like a cooler climate kind of place on the West Coast. It's not as hot as like Cali or Napa or anything like that. It's a lot more colder, but not chilly, not too chilly. If you've ever been to Oregon, you know that it's not so cold where you need to bundle up layer after layer, but it's not hot at all. It's pretty much just usually just comfortable. And you have to be prepared for rain because rain happens, but it's still warm when it's raining. This is the weirdest thing ever, and I kind of like it. And also, like, it's the clouds are like it's always like cloudy gray clouds that's always around. It's so interesting, a unique kind of experience that I think that anybody should experience. Stay there for a week, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's that's what Oregon is. Oregon isn't too hot, it's not too cold. It's like perfectly in the middle. So if you think of like photosynthesis, or if you think of trying to grow any kind of plant, right? It needs a certain amount of sunlight. It needs a certain amount of watering. It needs other kind of nutrients for food. This would be a great melting pot because you get a little bit of all of it, and it's usually around the same temperature all year long. It's not too drastic in temperature change throughout the year. So that's kind of ideal. So when I'm developing these grapevines, these vineyards, I'm just thinking, just like, all right, so my Pinot Noir is going to have just enough sunlight where it could become fruit forward, but also it's cool enough to still have the acidity that's proper for the Pinot Noir. Same with the Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris, I'm going to have the acidity because it's still a cooler temperature, but since I get a little bit more sunlight, I'm going to have a little bit more sugar or residual sugar that's going to give this wine a little bit more weight to it. And that works perfect, man. That's now I'm starting to get really excited. That's why these wines are fantastic. And I remember spending my time out there. Oh man, unfortunately, it wasn't wine focused. It was more cocktail focused or bartender focused out in Portland during Portland Cocktail Week. And everybody was hipster town, like everybody out there were definitely hipsters. And like I said, like 1 second it could be really sunny, and next thing you know, it's raining. It's raining out of nowhere, but you don't even need an umbrella. It's not annoying rain. It's not an annoying rain at all. It's comfortable rain. It's pretty warm rainfall. We're just like, okay, I'm used to it being cold and rainy, but no, warm and rainy, it's totally different, and it's just an experience that you should just do. And this happens multiple times throughout the day. I don't even think people even have umbrellas out there. Whatever. That's just crazy. But yeah, some of the things that I've had with this, right? Like, so I've had some brands, and I usually don't like saying brands or anything like that, but Solina Vineyards is really good. I had two different vintages of their Pinot Noir wines, and they weren't drastically different, but they tasted different. The older one, of course, started developing a lot more earthiness to it than the newer vintage that was more juicy, but structurally they both were the same. So I know that those wines were going to age without a problem for another 5 years. Not opening those bottles for another 5 years would be like the value on those $30 wines could surely shoot up to now. We're talking about like $50, $60, and as time goes on, more and more. But when I tell you, like in Harmony, you're getting chocolate from the older vintage. You're getting like raisin, plum, black currant. Like it was still fruit. It still had a lot of fruit forwardness to it. All right. But yeah, so that was a good producer. And Elk Cove, Pinot Gris. Oh my goodness. Another solid producer. Shout out to them out there at Elk Cove producing this nice, juicy Pinot Gris that has this really soft mouthfeel about it. Like, what kind of cheese? Like, Manchego cheese is what I would personally do with it because of the saltiness of the Manchego. It, yes, 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 yes. Because it's still something that's light and that you can just casually just have throughout your day and not miss a beat. And I think that's fantastic. Those are two great producers, I must say. Now, if I want to take these on a more serious role, as far as food and wine pairings, for the Pinot Noirs, that comes from Salina, I would say more so. I'm still doing a steakhouse with these wines. Still doing a steakhouse, and I want my tomahawk medium rare, and just because of the structure, how high quality Solina has done, it's going to hold up to all of that big, juicy oiliness from the tomahawk. That's medium rare because all the nutrients, that's going to be such a beautiful pairing. The acidity is going to break down all that oiliness, that fat, the texture. I'm telling you, you're doing yourself a favor by by that pairing. With the Pinot Gris, it's pretty funny and pretty interesting. I would say at the next cookout that you go to, or the next hot dog fest you go to, have a glass of Elk Cove Pinot Gris and pair that with the hot dog. Whether it's a barbecued hot dog or charred smoked hot dog, or just one that you just got from the food truck out there. does not matter. It's going to work. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to be so delicious. And you're like, what in the I've never thought of having a hot dog with an Oregon Pinot Gris. Yes. I tell you, do yourself that favor. Just have a little fun. Be experimental. Be weird with it. Take pictures. Also, send those pictures to me on Instagram at Yo Bry Guy. I would love to get your reaction from it because I think that's going to be really fun and an eye opener of how much fun you can have with wine. Well, I mean, we'll break down some AVAs for Oregon later down the line. Like I just want to give you an introduction to Oregon just in general. What's the climate like? What kind of grapes? And some producers. So now you have those in your warehouse and you know what to look out for. So hopefully you learned something from this episode. Hopefully you had fun and hopefully you try those pairings. All right. Once again, my name is Brian Fennell, also known as Bride Guy, and you just checked out another episode of Wine Unknown. Cheers. Let's keep having fun.